So you see all these gorgeous weddings on Instagram and Pinterest, but you don't know where to start. Scrap Pinterest. I'm going to show you exactly how to get the best mood board and create the best style for your wedding. Ciao, I'm Lucy. I've planned hundreds of Italian weddings and I'm here every week to show you exactly how to navigate Italian wedding planning with calm and ease so that you have a really enjoyable and fantastic Italian wedding. So when it comes to styling a wedding, it's a really big one. We all care about how our weddings look and we want our weddings to look and feel stunning. But how do you actually achieve that? Aesthetics aren't just about how things look. They actually change how the whole space looks and feels. It creates an actual experience for your guests and you really want to get this right. It's really worth investing time and money to do this properly. So my advice today comes from planning literally hundreds of weddings. I've styled them all myself. I absolutely love styling. And one of the things I love most about it is getting value. So actually, most of the weddings that you see over at my planning business, Whisker and White, many of the budgets are actually quite low. I say low in inverted commas because in wedding world, it's obviously still a lot of money, but our budgets for decor tend to range from about 7,000 up to 50,000, 100,000 euros. But the average budget is probably around 8 to 10,000 euros. And decor for me means everything that adds up and elements that build your wedding. So this is literally the furniture, the tables, the chairs, the linen, the crockery, the lighting, the stationery. If you have favours, if you have any other items like a guest book, fans at your ceremony, and obviously flowers. These are all grouped into the decor category that I put in the budget. When I'm working on styling, I really try and create an authentic wedding for each of my couples. So I want your wedding to feel like you. And there's many elements that do that, but the aesthetics and the decor really do make a wedding feel like you. This is where you can inject your personalities, things that are really special to you and important to you. And I'm going to talk you through some of those things now. So the first controversial thing to do, put Pinterest away. We do not need a Pinterest board to start our wedding. It takes you on a whole other tangent. Pinterest is full of weddings that have already happened. They're not your wedding. They're not going to suit your venue or your style particularly. And they're also going to take you on a bit of a wild goose chase because so many weddings on Pinterest cost hundreds of thousands of euro. And that's obviously just not achievable for most wedding budgets. So once you've deleted the Pinterest app, start by thinking about the time of year that your wedding is going to be in and what are the colours around at that time. Think of the landscape, the view that you're going to have, the different flowers that are in bloom at the venue. Just get a sense of all those different colours and bring them together in a mood board. Literally colours on a mood board. The theory here is that your wedding is going to suit and fit in with your venue, with your space that you're in. There's nothing worse for me than a wedding that completely contrasts what is happening in nature. So in the middle of winter, you want colours that really suit what's around you. It's darker, you might have a deeper red, you might have deeper jewel tones. If you've got bright spring tones, it's just not gonna look right. A real positive of using this as your base palette, the natural colours that are in season, also means that your flowers are gonna be in season, and that can work really well cost-wise. It can be environmental, so it means that a lot of the flowers can be sourced locally, and it just really suits the setting that you're in. The next colour to reference is the venue. So it's likely that you've got an incredible venue behind you or in one aspect of the day. At a lot of Italian weddings, the dinner is often held very close to the building, and that should be a colour that you at least check against your palette or include. So I would always include it as a colour in the palette. It's not something that you have to follow. In fact, when everything matches the colour of the venue, it's a no-go for me. That is boring. It kind of takes the energy out of your wedding day. Everything just fades into one. You want to reference that colour, but it should be a colour that's very kind of sparsely dotted through your wedding. It shouldn't be the lead colour, and you should have colours that massively contrast that to make it stand out more. If you contrast the colour of your venue, it will make the colours of the venue themselves stand out more. Once you've got this palette, maybe it's 5 or 6 colours, the natural colours, the colours that are found at the venue, literally the building, then you're going to think about what your actual favourite colours are. This palette is probably going to look quite plain because it's natural tones. You might want to inject something that's a bit of a contrast or a bit of a brighter colour in there. This is where you can pull up Pinterest. So you can Google mood boards. You can literally find different mood boards with the colours that you've got naturally in there and see what people use as another tone that contrasts but works with the palette that you've started to build. This could be where you bring in some of your favourite colours. If you've got a particular colour that you'd always imagined having at your wedding or you'd started to think about before you'd done this palette exercise, this is where it could come in and you could see if it actually fits with your venue. So this palette that you define becomes the first stage of your mood board. Now, the next stage for me is always gathering inspiration. Again, no wedding inspiration here. I want other inspo. I'm looking at different photography, usually interiors I find really inspiring, and also fashion. Where have these colours in your mood board been used in more creative ways, in art? Start to gather some of those pictures and put them in kind of a grid. Now, Instagram is amazing for this. Once you have this, you can see how these tones work together, how other creatives have brought these different tones together to work really, really nicely, and it will start to develop more ideas for you, but also give you an idea of how your wedding's going to look and feel if you use this palette. So now you've got these 2 slides, let's think about your bridal party. So if this is your palette, what colour would you have them in? What colour would the suits be? What colour would the bridesmaids' dresses be? Are those colours actually going to please and suit your bridal party? Are they going to make them feel good, or are they actually going to kind of drain them out? Really start to think about, from your palette, which colours are going to work best for them. Or actually, can they use various colours from the palette? Especially bridesmaids' dresses now, it's really nice to have a different range of colours and different range of dress style. So now we get creative. We've got our colours, we want to think about all of the other elements that come into your wedding. Literally brainstorm all of the things that you might want to have. If there's certain types of flowers that you have, I mean specifically, literally, I like roses, I like chrysanthemums, anything that you like, get it down. Think about all the other things you've imagined, all the things that you might have seen when you were looking on Pinterest, fans for the ceremony, Polaroid camera, just get it all out. A huge list of everything that you think that you might want. This becomes your initial wedding decor budget. It's also a really helpful brief for your florist. If you know there's certain things that you want, when you brief them, you're obviously able to literally give them that list up front and this palette, and that will enable them to go ahead and develop the most amazing flower proposal for you. So we've kept it really slim. Like, you could obviously have hundreds and hundreds of photos. Do you know what? When you're briefing your suppliers, all they really want from you is a few photos. They really want that palette, and they want a few reference pictures to just get the vibe and the type of things that you want. They also want to know the must-haves, and that's why we've done that exercise of specific flowers or specific items that you definitely want. If you have a planner, enabling them with this brief that you've done would be amazing. They probably would work it through with you if they're a stylist as well, and that would be their responsibility. But if you're doing it yourself, this is a really good exercise to enable you to then brief your different suppliers. In my membership, the club, I've got so many tools that would also help you here. So we've got a full style guide, which is every single part of the day and every single element that you should consider. You can kind of almost fill this in like a puzzle, and again, that really helps you build your whole look of the day and then enables you to brief your suppliers. We've got a full decor budget. We've got so much in there. So come and check out lalista.com/the club. And don't forget, there's loads more advice over on lalista.com. I'll see you next time.